What is up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Now today's video is dumb. I really don't think this is going to be successful, but someone has to test these products to find out. Now before we dive into that, I want to explain a couple of things to help you understand what's going on here. Now, divided between the three most common types of grinders, you're going to get three different types of burrs. First up, you have flat burrs. Now that's something that you will find in pretty much all the grinders I will use, especially for espresso. Now the second type of burr is conical. You'll find that in your hand grinders, you'll find it in your Breville home machines, and a lot of those types. There are some high-end grinders that do use conical burr as well, and my head's not really around that, to be honest, as I haven't explored too much of it, as I've never really had a great experience from them. Now the third type, and hopefully the least common type, is blade grinding. Now this is a blade grinder. This is something that I would not recommend to anyone. That's the burr inside, if you want to call it that. It's literally just the blade that spins. Now trying to make espresso with this is going to be a challenge, but that's what I need to do today to show you guys if it is possible to do that with a $19 grinder. Now the easiest way to conduct this experiment is going to be trying to replicate my typical espresso recipe. Now my standard recipe, 22 grams in and 44 grams out in about 28 seconds is going to be a good enough number. If we can get that down anywhere to the 25 seconds, that'll be satisfactory. But if we can get it fine enough through this blade grinder to get up closer to 30 seconds, I'm going to be very impressed. I don't think it's going to do it. Sit tight, let's see what happens. Now the first issue with a blade grinder is going to be the fact that it doesn't actually rely on a gap that's being closed, so you can't adjust how fine it is. You just need to grind for longer, and hopefully it does hit all of the bean to get it fine enough. This is why I have very little faith in this. Let's find out. Now if you're wearing headphones, I do suggest turning the volume down because this will be quite loud. I'll give you an example. This doesn't have coffee in it. That is so scary. And it smells like something's burning already. This is so sketchy, I hate it. All right, I've got 22 grams of fresh coffee. When I say fresh, it's within a couple of weeks old. Let's pour it in. So I know it's that fresh because I roasted it. Get on it. All right, I am genuinely scared of this. A $19 grinder from Amazon. I'll put a link below if you want to try this yourself. Oh man, let's see. Now, like I said, if you're wearing headphones, take them out or turn it really low because it's going to be loud. Now I must say, I haven't been doing this for very long and it's getting quite fine. And it's actually getting a little bit of heat around the outside, which is a good indication that we're getting down to espresso grounds. It's a bit of a test I have done before to see how much heat is put into the grounds, depending on how fine it is. And typically the finer you go, the more heat it produces, or the more heat it creates. I don't really know how to word this properly, but it's getting hot and it's getting fine. So I'm already quite surprised. I reckon we might be pretty close to making a coffee. Now, I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but it feels like and looks like it's getting pretty close to espresso grind size. I'm going to pop this in the portafilter and let's see if it makes a coffee. We might need to go longer. I very much doubt we need to go shorter time frame because it's still a little bit on the coarser side for my liking. Let's extract a coffee, see how long it takes, and see if we actually still can get 22 grams out of this thing. There's a bit of retention going on. So let's find out. Now, to be completely honest, I think the hardest part is going to be getting it from the grinder into the dosing cup or portafilter. Either way, it's the same size. Wish me luck. All right, so we got most of the coffee out. I've zeroed this and we did get 21.4 grams out. And it certainly does look fine enough to be espresso grinds. Now I already know, even if this does make a good espresso or close to it, the issue is always going to be the ability to replicate that coffee. Because the only way you can really adjust the grind size, like I said, was to grind for longer or shorter periods. So I guess you could build recipes off that, of how many seconds you grind the coffee for, and then adjust from there. It's definitely not a nice way to make coffee, and I don't think it's a great way. But let's see if this makes a coffee, just for the experiment. So far, we're actually looking pretty good. And like I said, we did only get 21.4 grams out of the grinder. There's a lot of retention, there's a little bit of spillage. So I'm gonna adjust my recipe down slightly. So I'll bring it down, so we're only gonna be aiming for 42 grams out, which is only 2 grams, give or take. If that still gets us within the 25 to 30 seconds, I'm impressed. And that's the best $19 I've ever spent on a coffee grinder. So to keep this fair, I am going to do my exact coffee prep in the same way as I typically would, and as I have many times with this same coffee. This is my own little blend, and let's see, it's looking so good. This is scary. Now, I have spoken about a lot of grinders on this channel, and the last one maybe a little bit controversial. I feel like it might actually be too fine. But it's looking, this is scary. Let's make a coffee. All right, the moment of truth. Although that definitely wasn't going to make a good espresso, I was wrong, and that was way too fine. And I just did not expect it to be able to get it fine enough. So as good as that is, in the point where, yes, you could get it fine enough, and we're going to, so I'm gonna try again and sort of time it and see how long it takes to get the correct consistency. But this is going to be the issue, where good luck replicating your coffees. Let's try again, see how long it takes. I'll put a little bit extra in the grinder so that we can get out the correct 22 grams. Let's see how we go. All right, so I put about 23 grams in the dosing cup. Let's go. Headphone warning. I'm gonna start a timer, that's right. Ta-da. Okay, let's see. Let's go. So that's 10 seconds. Nope. Uh-oh. 20 seconds. Let's go another 10. Now all I'm feeling for is just the correct consistency. If you've made as many espressos as I have, you'll know. So don't try to do this off feel if you haven't made a bazillion espressos. So we're up to 30 seconds now. We're looking pretty close. Let's go another 10. Still not there yet. I think it's just gone too fine again. But let's put it in the machine and find out. All right, so we've got exactly 22 grams in the dosing cup and a giant mess. This is looking pretty close, but it's definitely a little bit inconsistent. So there's a lot of really, really micro fines, and then still some stuff that's not great. I think that's about as good as it's gonna get through this grinder, but let's go make a coffee, see what it does. All right, let's try this again, and hopefully we can get a drinkable coffee. Let's find out. So 31 seconds, we got out just under 44 grams of coffee, which is damn close enough to the recipe for my liking. Let's give it a taste and see what we think. All right, so this is the coffee that's worth more than the grinder I used for it. Let's see if it tastes any good. Now, before I taste it, it's kind of irrelevant no matter how good this tastes, because that was very difficult. I've made a giant mess, and I don't think I could replicate this coffee every time. 40 seconds of grinding is a really bad way to measure your grind size, but let's try it, see how we go. It's okay, it's perfectly fine. It is definitely missing a lot of the complexity that I got this morning from the same coffee, through the Coffee Tech DF83V, which there is a review coming very soon. Sit tight. Now, overall, yes, you can absolutely make espresso with this $19 grinder from Amazon. There's a link below. If you want to buy it, go for it. I don't think it is the most economical way to make a quality coffee, but it definitely makes coffee better than some other machines that I've used in the future, in the past, I'm sorry, the future. Probably makes better coffee than some grinders I'll use in the future. But I've got to say, for $19, I am pretty impressed. Do I think it's the right grinder for everyone? Absolutely not. But if you're in a pinch and you need something and your other grinder has died or you're on holidays or whatever it is, it'll absolutely make a coffee, which is better than I expected. Certainly better than I could have imagined. I don't imagine it would last very long. It was definitely struggling to make 2 coffees. But like I said, in a pinch, absolutely. It'll make a coffee, and I'm very surprised. So let me know what you think of this. If you've done a similar experiment or if there is something you want me to test for you, let me know. And if you do want to help support paying for these $19 grinders, there is a link below as well to help support the channel. For $1.49 a month, you can support us and help us pay for useless items that I'm probably going to throw in the bin now. But that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day and happy brewing. Can't even be upset. Okay, time to make a real coffee now. You can go in the bin. It's the first time I've seen one of these used for coffee in Western Sydney. You know what I'm talking about. Now, I was about to put this in the bin. This is in the bloopers, so if you watch this far, if you want this, let me know. I'll send it to anyone, pay for postage, I don't know, support the channel and I'll do it. A lot of people in Western Sydney will use this for things other than coffee. If you want it for that, I don't care. Feel free, let me know. I'll send it your way. Bye.